You already know. Period.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Kamisha Reviews. And you guys know we have been covering the show The GOAT on Amazon Prime since the very first episode. Well, I am very excited to have somebody on here, a Southern, whose grits I really think that I probably would melt in a chair and probably wouldn't move for a few days. With that being said, we got Chef Jason in the building. How you doing?
Well, Lord, honey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super goofy. I'm from Louisiana and I live in Texas. There's too much Southern stuff going in me. So the food that you talk about is my whole entire childhood. Okay. So first of all, how are you doing today? I hope you are great. You look great.
Listen, honey, I'm as fine as frog hair split four ways, and you can't get no better than that. So,
Period. Okay. So I first want to get into coming from, of course, being this famous chef and cooking this yummy food to going on this challenge-esque show where you guys are squirting pimple juice in your face. I just want to know how we come from there to there. Tell me the origin story, please.
listen, honey, I'm telling you what, it took me a while to figure out how I got from food competitions to squirting the zits and all that junk. But it was one of those things that they contacted me and said, we're doing this new reality show and we really want you to be on it. And I said, well, what is it? And they said, you're going to be living in a mansion with 13 other reality stars, and you're all going to be doing these fun games and all this stuff. And I was like, cool, I'm competitive. Let's do something out of my ordinary. Let's do something opposite of the cooking competition. So that's what I've done. And actually, I fell in love with it. So I'm all in for it.
For myself, when I first started watching The GOAT, the first thing I said, oh my God, as a blogger who've been doing this stuff for like freaking forever, it was like a breath of fresh air. Because I've been doing these shows for the past 10 so years, and it's not saying it's been the same, but not. I felt like this was a compilation of everything I've ever watched or ever reviewed or even interviewed cast from. And I said, I love it. So I can understand what you got to interview take as well. It's almost similar that you do fall in love with it. Now, with that being said, did you have any kind of, because I know that you haven't done challenges before, but you've competed as far as food. So did you have a strategy going in at all?
Well, my strategy going into this was not really knowing what the challenges would be. My strategy was, okay, I'm probably going to end up being the only person in this house that can cook, because we all know most reality stars can't cook worth crap unless they're a food reality. So I was like, okay, let's play it this way and see how it goes. If I keep them fed, will they keep me going with them? And so I was using food to my advantage. And so, and it works, as we all see. Not only am I competitive on the show and I'm right in there doing the games, but then when the games are over with, then I'm feeding them and all this stuff. So I thought, okay, this is going to do two things. Either they're going to get fat and can't run and do the challenges, or they're going to say, oh, we can't get rid of him or we're going to starve to death. So that was kind of my going into it kind of strategy, because I never have had to, or I've never done competitions to where you had to have like alliances and things like that, because I'm used to letting my food speak for me. So it was kind of one of those things I had to learn the difference between, but I grasped onto it real quick.
That is so okay. That's pretty cool that you said that. I kind of see what you're saying, the difference between a competition for like you're cooking or whatever to, doing these different things. So with that being said, going into the house and once you got to kind of see at least the first episode, who did you bond with first? And was that a person you said, we're going to be in alliance together?
Yeah, so coming into the house and seeing everybody and kind of talking to them very first thing and getting to know everybody, there was a lot on there that I had seen and watched on television, like Wendell from Survivor, Alyssa Edwards from RuPaul's Drag Race, Reza from Shaw's of Sunset. But knowing them from the screen, I thought, okay, I'm not going to fangirl too much. So, but just looking around the room, the first person that actually caught my eye was Davon Rogers from Big Brother and the Challenge. And I thought, this girl right here looks like she knows something about the game like this. So should I grasp on with her and see how far, we could work together and all that? So, and that's what I did in right in the beginning is Davon and I, we started an alliance and we worked together and this and that. And she became very good friends. Well, we all became very good friends, but Davon was one of those people that she knew that I could cook tater salad and grits and cornbread and all that good stuff. So she was like, "Ooh, I'm keeping him on my side because he's going to be a number and I'm going to be eating good." So I was like, "Girl, I got you, you got me." So
Right.
she was the first one I kind of gravitated toward. And then from there, once we picked our rooms and who was in our rooms, like my room is Wendell, Reza, and Justin, then we had an alliance together and we were just that room. And so, but it's a lot of mind games when you're kind of doing this kind of game, but it was fun. It was interesting to learn from Wendell, him being on Survivor and how to do this alliance thing. Cause I just kept asking questions of, I've never done this before, what to do. And he would kind of give us a little bit of insight of, okay, so this is, this is that, things like that. So, and I'm very appreciative to them for him and Davon for kind of teaching me things like that. But going into it, honey, all I had was food. I had nothing else but that.
Look, ain't nothing wrong with that. I tell you, because that probably what I think a lot of people use that strategy. And they may use that honestly going forward. It would work in Big Brother house, and a house like that would be stuck. In a house like that food cooking thing would be a really good advantage. So with this experience, would you do something like a Big Brother-esque or something else that's a reality TV show?
I have been asked that question several times since we've started doing the press and stuff for the GOAT, and people's like, what else do you want to do? I would love to do Survivor. I would love to do Amazing Race. I would love to do Traitors. I would like to do Big Brother. The Big Brother for me was one of those, like when they were talking, the ones that had been on Big Brother, like you were trapped in a house for 100 and some days with these people. And I was like, 100 and some days, honey, that's like a half a year, almost half a year. And I'm like, well, if I've got a stove and food, of course I can do it. It's no big deal. But I have fell in love with the competitions outside of food. So I'm like, I'm waiting on the phone call for the next one. So let's go.
Wow. I think that would, well, like I said, for me, I think you'd be going to be brothers if you're going to use food as a strategy, because that's all they do in Big Brother literally is cook. They all cook different things and you get bored and you're so creative and have some different ideas. You would actually do really well because most people in the house do not know how to cook. So I think that's a really good one for you. Now the challenge, which is more physical, or the Amazing Race, which is physical and also mental. Would you, if you got the call, would you do either one of those? Those are real physical ones.
I would do the Amazing Race simply because it's one, like I love the physical challenges. I may be a fat Southern kid, but let me tell you something. I can do the challenges. That ain't no big deal. But
you are not.
It's one of those things that the Amazing Race for me, I've watched it ever since it's been on television, and it just looks intriguing to me because I do like to figure out like puzzles and figuring out where you're going and directions and things like that. So I think I would really like to do, Amazing Race, but I would probably do like Big Brother or Survivor or something like that before that one. But now the challenge, I've watched it and I'm like, okay, the season that Davon was on and they buried him alive, I'm like, I don't know if I could deal with that or not. I mean, I like my space. And I don't like those little cramped up spaces. So I don't know if the challenge would be fit for me.
Got you. Okay, so speaking of Miss Davon, I wanted to, and yes, she is Big Brother. She's done it. I've reviewed, talked about her, everything. So with that being said, I feel like the Davon came in here like just a wrecking hole. I mean, just there was nothing to stop her. Blah, 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 blah. So with that being said, and watching her work after the first episode, what were you like? Wow, or I'm sorry, what were your thoughts? Because I was like, wow.
So, well, I was so watching Davon. I was like, this girl is full on game all the time. Even in, even when you don't need to be in game mode, she's in game mode, which that's what you got to be. But I didn't need to be like that because she was like that. So she does that her thing and is full on game mode. And then when she does it, I didn't have to worry about it. But it was just amazing to watch her craft. It was amazing to watch how she methodically thought things through and how that she thought it might work or might not work and how well it played. She done a couple things that I would have probably not done. Simply, I think it's episode 2 or 3 when she threw the game. I would have not done it that way. But we've talked about it and I'm like, girl, I would have never done that. I know what your strategy was, but I'm too competitive. I could not have done that. And so, but it's all a strategy game. So that was a part of her strategy. It didn't work for her, but until you try it, you don't know if it's going to work or not. But she's one of those people that you can just marvel at the craft that she has done so many competition shows that she's got that craft down. And so that was one reason. Once I paired with her, I was like, oh, I've made a great choice because she has such a great craft. But she is a wow moment. I mean,
she is. But I have to ask about that. Or this last episode that just aired, and and I was like upset watching it when they was yelling at Tech. I mean, I know you guys are either watching it or you're there or whatever. You guys are watching it now, in full because it's been recorded. But to see that part where they thought that he threw it, and I was like, what? I was so confused by that whole. I just didn't understand. Even the people that was with Davon and him the whole time, it was like, no. Wait, that's not. And Tech is so cool. I just talked to him before for the challenge. He's such a positive, dude. I was just like, I don't see it. So give me your thoughts because it was drama happening. And I know, I'm pretty sure there was drama even in cooking shows. I'm pretty sure it was. It's hot in there. Okay. So with the drama with this, the different things that happened with Davon, when they called people out at the, what were you thinking? This is a lot of drama. We're from the South. We're used to it, but still.
So the whole thing about the last episode and the Tech drama is yes, there's a lot of drama, Mama. But let me tell you something. It was not. I mean, Davon and them was thinking he was trying to throw the game. There was no reasoning for him to throw the game at this point because what would it have benefited him to have thrown his game? Because there was nobody on his team that would have went against him. They were all working with him. So why would you throw that when he was doing that? So where we're standing, we're right next to him watching them do this. And I'm watching Tech and I'm thinking, he's just like me. Well, not like me. I mean, he's tall and lanky and I'm short and whatever, but it was the tomato thing for him. It's like he could not get the slingshot to hold the tomato. And it was one of those things they kept saying, you're throwing it. Okay, you've made your point. I'm like, what point are you all talking about? There is no point here. And so we were all like, I can't believe they're talking to him like he's, they're calling him everything but a milk cow. And I'm like, he's not doing this on purpose. He's just not doing it on purpose. And so I didn't realize or really think about why are they thinking that he's throwing the game, because he had no reason to. And so once it's over with, I was talking with Tech and I'm like, please tell me that you did not try to throw this challenge. And he's like, no, I'm telling you right now, I did not try to. Why would I throw this challenge? Think about it. And I'm like, I know. That's what I'm saying. I did not figure out why they thought you were throwing it, because it didn't benefit you in any way. There was nobody on that team that was standing in your way. There was nobody on that team you wasn't working with. There was nobody on that team that you wanted gone. So why would you have thrown the challenge? And he looked at me and he said, yeah, now can you go make the rest of them believe this? And I'm like, Son, it's not up to me to make them believe it. This is on you, honey. You got to make them believe it. I believe you. I know you wasn't throwing it. And my team was all on with him, knowing that he did not throw this challenge. Now, with that being said, there was some Tech didn't fight for himself. He didn't actually come to anybody and say, please don't vote for me. I didn't throw a challenge. He just kind of blew it off and said, you know what? They can believe me or not. It is what it is. So,
wow.
yeah.
That well, okay. That makes sense. In these games, you do have to fight for yourself. If you do not, even I've seen in Big Brother, I know you have as well, that you'll have people on the team. If the person isn't fighting, even their own teammates will be like, "Look, man, I don't know if he wants to stay here. I'm not going to be fighting for somebody." Even though you guys were still doing it, but I understand maybe he could have swayed a few because the rock was it was rocking. At first, it was straight guy girls, and it's certain window y'all was killing, then the girl, and then people started getting dropped off. Then all of a sudden, the numbers started dwindling, and then it was more like you guys are convinced people now. It's not just. I think maybe he thought y'all were just gonna have him. What do you think was off about that vote though? Because I just thought it was a straight shot. Okay, boom.
Well, that vote confused me when we had to do 2 that evening. That vote confused me because I thought we had to vote for 2 different people. And I'm standing there going, I don't understand this vote. And they're like, you can figure out a game, but you can't figure out a vote. I'm like, I've been in the kitchen cooking. I ain't got time to think about how I'm voting. And they were like, no, you just vote for one person. And then whichever 2 gets the most votes, then that's how they are leaving. And I was like, okay, that makes more sense. Why didn't you all explain it like that to begin with? And so that vote went all over the board. We had Reza who voted for Powell. We had Powell who voted for Justin. We had Davon who voted for Justin. We had Wendell who voted for Tech. And then we had, I think Joe even got a vote. But it was one of those things that in our group or in our alliance, we had said we will not vote for Justin because he was in our alliance. And we will not vote for anybody that's in our room until if all 4 of us go way to the end. And then there would be one day that we would say, okay, we're down to this. It's every man for himself. Now it's time. If you're going to vote for each other, now it's time to do it. So at this point, though, we're only halfway through. And so we wasn't going to vote for Justin. We just wasn't going to do that. And so it come down to, who do you vote for, Tech, Joe, or Powell? Well, at the time, Powell thought I was voting for her. And she comes into my interview and begs and pleads and begs and pleads. And I'm thinking, okay, if I don't vote for her tonight, then later on, if I'm back up on the block, then I could go to her and say, look, I done you a favor one time. I didn't vote for you. Now's the time I need you to work with me and not vote for me. And let's see if we can get this vote to go a different way so that we can all stay, or so that I can stay. And so I thought, okay. And I had to think very quickly. So I didn't vote because I was going to vote for Powell. And so I didn't vote for Powell. So then Joe comes to me and says, man, look, I've had your back since day one. I didn't vote for you in the very first day. Would you please not vote for me tonight? And I said, okay, you got me. I've got you this time. So I couldn't vote for Joe. And so that left Tech. So then I was like, okay, Tech, are you going to come to me and say, please don't vote for me or anything? And honey, he was just in the kitchen and he was having a drink and he's eating snacks and we're having a good old time. Never once did he say anything to me about not voting for him. So I'm like, guess what? Guess who gets my vote? But it was one of the things I almost had to go for Tech, even though I didn't want to.
Right.
But I had to go for Tech because the other 3 had already came to me and already.
Right.
I
understand.
Yeah. So it's one of those things.
So were you the deciding
votes were just everywhere. I mean, they were all over the board. I thought it was cut and dry. I thought, because when we were talking, the numbers was going for Tech and Justin. So our alliance was trying to keep from Justin from going home. So that's why we were throwing our votes in other rings. It didn't work that way. it fell apart somewhere, and we never, to this day, we still haven't figured it out. But it didn't work the way we wanted it to work. It was just weird. It's an odd thing to have two to go home and try to get those votes to go the ways you need it to go. So
wow, that whole situation is so intriguing, like what you just said, because I was trying to figure out. I saw online people trying to figure out what happened because for you talking at first, I was like, okay, were you the deciding factor? Well, I say no now because not only were you trying to save tech, y'all were also trying to make sure Justin didn't go up. That was a lot going on, and two people had to go home, and the numbers were dwindling. So yeah, it was not a cut and dry. It looked like that in the beginning, but when y'all broke it down, it was like, no, it's not cut and dry. We got to really figure this out. That is easy. Wow.
Yeah.
So for you with this experience, and I know that the show is still on, obviously, but for you, like, how does it change your world as far as your fans? Because I know you have fans galore already. Challenge fans, competition fans are different. I'm just gonna tell you. So what are you experiencing with that?
So yes, I have fans everywhere. I mean, they have fan clubs in the United States, they have fan clubs in Canada. One of the biggest outside of the US and Canada is Australia, has a huge Lord Honey fan club. But really, it has done nothing to propel the even more fans. So you take 14 reality stars from all different genres. And so let's say that the people that watch Vanderpump Rules does not watch food stuff.
Gotcha.
So all of a sudden they're watching Kristen, and then they see me and they start following me or fall in love and become a fan. So you're pulling fans from different genres that probably don't even know where you're at. So it has really, I mean, I have seen a jump in the amount of fans on my social media, and then a jump of new fans that's actually signing up for like the Lord Honey website, and we send out newsletters, things like that. So we've seen a big jump. It was already tremendously, but I mean, it's really jumped, and it seems like with every episode you can see a bigger jump.
Of course. So, wait till the last.
I'm getting to touch people's lives that never seen food before, that didn't want anything to do with it. You know, people are that way. You know,
nothing to do with it, Jason.
I know, like, you know, so they're not foodies, you know, they just watch Survivor, but all of a sudden they're watching Wendell because they're his favorite. And now, oh my gosh, I just fell in love with some grits and greens, honey. I got to follow this guy. So.
I need you to get a shirt that says grits and greens or grits and gravy. Either way,
I got one that says, yeah, we have one that says Lord Honey on it, or it has my name on it. It says grits and gravy. Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure that your website is there so that everybody who watches Community Reviews can click on it. Because I'm telling you, a lot of time when I talk about the show, people hit me up and say, "Oh my God, I love Jason," and they do, because I'm from the South, and so a lot of my people who watch me are in Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, you know, out in the southern regions, and you know, we know the talk, we know the slang, the foods, and some stuff. Now, when you didn't get enchilada. Was that the word you didn't get? Was that enchilada the word? Were you
quesadilla? And it's not. So the whole thing is I say when I say quesadilla, I call it a quesadilla. And so in my head, I'm thinking quesadilla, and that's what I'm spelling. And then when I get it spelled, I'm like, dummy, that's an A instead of an O. And I knew it. And I was like, it's okay. You know, do I really want to be the GOAT? You know, because it's one of those things up to this point, we've seen everybody that's been GOAT has had drama and trauma, honey. So I was like, I don't need none of that in my life right now. I'm doing okay. Nobody's got my name in their mouth about going home. So it's all right. I misspelled quesadilla. But I'm like, could you not give me gravy? Could you not give me breaded okra? I mean, come on. You got to throw a system on here. So,
okay, a very important question. What did you make for Memorial Day?
Well, for Memorial Day, we do a huge cookout here in the neighborhood that I live in, and so I done all the like hamburgers and hot dogs. But then I also made one of my new desserts that's in the new recipe or in the new book coming out in September, and it's like a key lime pie, but it's made with lemon, so it's a lemon icebox pie, and it has tequila whipped cream on it. So
Ooh,
pretty good.
Get a couple of those in there. Really be smiling at brunch. Okay.
Honey, grinning like a possum with sharp teeth.
Oh my God, guys! Once again, this is what Jason. Before I get off of Jason, what you got coming up? I know that the show right now, this is going on. It's gonna be
Goat. Watch the goat. I do have some food shows coming out later this fall and early spring. We can't talk about them yet, so you just got to follow along and wait for the announcements. I do have a new cookbook that came out last year, and it's still out there. And then I have a new dessert book coming out in September. So it's one of those things you got to follow Lord Honey, because every day is an experience, and there's always something new that I'm announcing. So.
Love Laura Honey. Now, y'all know normally I am on camera with cute blue eye makeup on and some other stuff, but you know, the Texas storms is not going to make it great for me, but I don't care. I said I had to talk to Jason today because he's everything, and I was completely correct. He's hilarious, funny. I can talk to him for hours, but Jason is booked and busy. So with that being said, thank you so much for Jason for coming on. He's everything. Oh, I hit the wrong doggone thing. My drama ass. Once again, thank you guys for having Chef Jason came on. I will have his website, everything for you guys to connect to it. With that being said, y'all know this is the Queen of Reality TV, and we out of here. One thing I want you guys to know, and that nothing that will never change about this, I am the Queen of Reality TV. Don't get it twisted and don't doubt it. It is